contested somewhere in the group stages and a little bit afterwards. With the Visage, like what do you buy on Visage usually? You go for that shard, right? Like after the raid pack, you instantly get the shard. Why do you get the shard? You heal up almost fully. All you have to do is actually be able to use it, and Grave will allow you to accomplish that.
Definitely. Entity was actually the ones banning it out too, so like that's how much value they have on it, that they're like, if we can't get our hands on it, we have to ban it. The Enchantress also being picked up for Boom now, so it's that Enchantress, Tiny, back to what they had in Game 2. They felt very confident on it.
Yeah, and now you're looking at like Vipers, DPs, and Razors, I imagine, like with kind of the formula you would try and follow as Entity at this point.
Yeah, it's a very open draft on the side of Boom Esports, right, as well. Like Enchantress and Tiny. Tiny is flexible, most likely your position 4, but they don't have the first pick in second phase, right? Okay, you're 16, 17, right? Or,
yeah, and then you up first.
For Boom Esports, it can go in any direction pretty much. They can just pick and choose in which way to counter the Visage.
Where do you feel the Visage is going to go? Because the Tiny that we saw Stormer have in Game 1 is now on Boom, and the Bat Rider is taken out of the pool now too, being banned. Do you think that Visage could be flexed there? Unlikely, more likely just to be a staple off lane?
I saw them with some dice up on the stage. I think they just roll.
they're like, where do we put this hero now?
High roller gets Visage, I think. Maybe low roller after last time.
Low roller.
I think it's the lower one, yeah. But last time Toby played it, this time around Stormer is like, okay, now it's my time.
I'm going to show you how to play it.
Yeah, they played the Visage mid against the Puck matchup. Obviously, it's not in this game, but Stormer is a very good, Visage player. He went like drums, he got the axe, he scaled with those items.
Usually, it can be a little bit of a different idea and approach to the game if you're playing Visage from it. You can play the same way, by the way. You can just go for raid back. But you can also, like Sheep said, you can be this hunter. Like you get the Aghanims, you're just playmaking constantly from the mid lane. You're giving vision and okay.
Wow.
All right, so we saw this once actually from Boom, I believe, in the laning stage or in the group stage. They actually played a 4 Sven, but that was into immediate minus armor strategy that they saw coming out from the other side, where it was the Weaver and the Alchemist. This idea of like a strategy. So I'm not necessarily saying this will be a support right away, because I think that's still a pretty difficult strategy to make work, especially when it's not already a physical-based lineup here from Boom. For Boom, for me, I'm kind of thinking about these backline jumps again for Yopaj, right? There's a lot open here. That puck is still there, and with the Dazzle being in the
Ember
game,
as well.
I was going to say Ember, that's exactly what I was going to say. Storm's there, Ember's there.
Like, listen, if I had Yopaj on my team and we had a chance to go out, I just want him on Ember. That will be the hero I would give him for sure.
I would trust him. I think while Game 1 was pretty horrible, Game 2 he looked really good, so I think he's going to come into this game feeling really good. And like I wouldn't be surprised seeing like a cuddle from him again.
Oh,
who's that guy?
Okay.
What?
Oh yeah.
The watermelon is out, and this is pretty much Boom saying, like, Visage, you will not have a good game. No matter
All right,
where
come
you
on
go.
now, give it up for Tide Hunter. Big alties, come on. Let him go. Yeah, big cheers for Tide. You guys like that? You like Enigma? You like Tide Hunter? Yeah, more of these heroes? Thank you.
Trent just rallying the crowd out here.
Dude, every time TI comes around, Tide comes back. And like the discussion around it is always like teams default to these easy to execute team fight strategies where you do just press like Ravage and win the fight, and that's the idea. And even earlier in this tournament, we've seen a couple of Tide picks, and when you reach this refresher timing, like how many times has Fear said, oh man, refreshers is so dumb, you just get to late game, you buy a refresher and you win everything. Like that's what Tide's gonna do. They picked Venom, they lost the game, by the way.
Yeah, I'll go next.
I'm sorry, it's over.
I do want to bring something up though. Game 1, you were saying Boom had those issues around long cooldowns when they had the Dawn. Do you think that's going to be similar with Tide, or Tide's going to be able to get online a little bit faster, be with the team a little bit more?
It depends on their last pick as well, because so far it's only the Tide.
Yeah.
So it's not really that big of a deal. You also go for that Aghanims build early on, enables you to actually play with the team, and there's just so many jobs that Tide can accomplish in a game such as this one. You can defend versus the Visage very easily. You just park yourself in front of the tower. You can also dominate the Sven in the lane. Later on, it can get a little bit more difficult, but in the lane you're strong. And Venomancer, really?
Do you think it's going to be off lane though?
Yes, it's one of Toby's favorite heroes.
Goodness. Okay.
So it's Toby's.
I was trying to throw them a bone, and maybe they could have swapped it up somewhere.
I don't know where you swap a Venom to where it doesn't just feed in the mid game.
Jungle?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so granted, looking at the strengths here, Boom doesn't currently have catch. The only catch they have is in Tiny. Their mobility is based on blinks, right? So the problem with playing against like a Storm is he only needs his mana, his spells to get on top of you. Currently, Boom rely on blinks. So what does Venno do? He puts Plague Wards down. He like controls area space. Your entrances to your jungle, like the area he's playing, is going to be scouting you out, canceling your blinks. It makes it very, very hard for like Tide and Tiny to get into fights.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like the last time they had Venno against EG, I think it was against Storm Spirit as well, and he was just constantly hunting the Venno, killing him off. So if you're Boom anyway, you do need that kind of a mid laner, right? Like some playmaking Storm Spirit or Ember Spirit.
I think it's really interesting that they did go for the Tide, though, over something like the Coddle, right? Because when I saw that Bristle come, I just kind of assumed that Coddle was about to be the next pick, and they would have this sort of dynamic in terms of the support of the mid option, but just valuing it so much versus that Visage, and partly why they're letting it come through once again here into this game.
What do you feel that Boom is going to be picking up out of this banning phase now that you thought that was going to be the Coddle?
Yeah, I still think it's going to be the same thing. Let's see what entity bans. One of the spirits might come out for Boom. I would love to see them complete the draft in that way.
Yeah.
Do you think then it's going to be an Ember or a Storm for the last ban? Right, because you kind of have to do one of those spirits.
I think if it's entity, you're banning out Ember.
Yes, I would agree. And then I think, I don't know, it's kind of risky to take Storm not knowing your matchup.
Okay.
Potentially. He has a lot of options. Like Yopaj, when I look at his hero pool, it is kind of large, and a lot of his heroes haven't been banned. He can play like the Pango, he can play the Invoker as well. Going that like Quaswex type beat, he's also... I mean, those are probably the heroes I'd like to see him on. Again, I rate his Ember and Storm very highly, so for preference, one of those.
I have to say, I love the bans on both sides too. These last two bans, Bristle would suffer against the Bloodseeker, and on the other hand, this Pango would be just an additional hero to mess up Visage's game completely.
Yeah, those birds would be so gone. Pango and Tide.
Yep.
Even a Bristle,
They would disappear pretty much.
Is there anything else missing from the lineup, or is it just that playmaker for Boom?
It's mostly just a playmake. If they want to do more damage reduction, they could take something like a Kunkka and just use the Rum to kind of try and mitigate like the Venno ult damage. You have that long range catch with the X, so it's not like you're not jumping with spells, but you are catching with the X, right?
At the same time, when you're playing against Entity, it's not like you need a ton of catch. Look at their heroes. They're not necessarily the most mobile ones as well.
Yeah.
Very similar styles of drafts actually on side of Entity and on the side of Boom. You get these bulky boys that are supported by heals. On one side you have Bristle and Ench, on the other you have Dazzle, Visage and Warcry. Sven?
Yeah. I'm just really worried because this Bristle, like, Ag's timing looks really difficult. If they're able to buy Lotus Orbs to enable him, get him into that fight, because he will be kited by the Venno, right? It's just very hard.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, it's Tiny mid?
They go back for the enabling.
Wait.
Yeah. Most likely.
Oh, yeah. Tiny mid.
ION supports.
Okay, so it wasn't the direction we thought that they were going to go, but do you still like it, and how would you respond if you were Entity now having that IO last pick?
I think for Boom, they just kind of looked at it and said, like, yeah, we don't necessarily need the most catch. We can get it done here with the Tiny. I mean, Tiny obviously provides a decent amount of catch. It can be sort of tougher in the mid roll to get these like huge toss-back plays because you're a little bit more valuable heading later into the game. But they're just saying, look, it's a solid strategy. It's relocates plus Ravage. This is a proven thing they can do. Maybe Yopaj can't decide as much of the game on his own in this, but it's certainly a team-centric lineup here. So Entity, this is probably a Saberlight hero that's left here in the pool, unless he's going to be playing the Sven. I feel like they're probably going to try and throw this on support, though.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that it's probably going to go support?
I think at this point in the draft, you see a lot of minus armor, you see a lot of physical damage between this like Bristleback and the Tidehunter, so it works out well enough for me that I think it's valuable enough with the Warcry. You're just stunning. It's a melee hero that can play with the Venomancer or the Visage in the laning stage, and Saberlight just can pick whatever he sort of feels like. Whew.
And they go with the Necro.
The tank
pretty
killer.
good one.
Yeah.
Classic versus the Bristle.
All right, well, then how are you favoring these teams? What sort of timings and tempo are we looking at?
I have to say, I wasn't sold at all on Entity's draft up to this Necro pick. Like, this Necro pick kind of ties it all together. They have this front line now. They have a hero that actually forces fight in the form of Visage, and the Necro can actually take down these big boys. So, for Boom, Aghanims, BKB, that's what they're looking for on their Bristleback. Once they get that, they're fine, but it's going to be rough to get to that point.
Well, I think the biggest problem with Entity's draft is no jump. their 3 cores are so slow between a Visage, a Veno, and a Necro. Like, who is jumping anything? You want to use your Necro on Tide and Bristle, and you have much more playmaking on Boom. When they get those blinks,
Much easier, yeah.
it's so easy, yeah.
It turns into we force fights through objectives more so from Entity, right? Like, we're just going to approach, we're going to do our thing, you have to come and fight us, but then I see Ravage, I see IO relocates, and I see no breaks outside of, well, really no tools versus the Bristle overall other than the big scythe, so a little frightening to me. I definitely like Boom's idea here.
I'm excited to see how it plays out. This game 3, it is for elimination here at the Major. It's Gareth and Lacoste.
All right, Arlington, it's elimination time. Let's hear some noise for Entity. Come on.
What about some noise for Boom?
Yeah, who's back in Boom?
Not bad, not bad.
All on the line here, Lacoste.
Yeah, looking at Entity's draft, disgusting. That's all I'm going to say. Having Venomancer plus Necrophos, also Visage. Every single hero pretty much has some kind of a slow poison, overtime damage. A lot of healing from Boom Esports because they do have Enchantress one more time, they do have IO, and also these heroes do build into earlier BKBs. Hood on Tidehunter, Bristleback with the Vanguard, potentially a Cloak, maybe even a Hood if he feels like he needs it. Entity, again, they're on the timer, but they have been on the timer. We've been saying this pretty much the whole tournament, you're right, where they feel like they need to finish the game. Position force went something that I've been looking forward to see a bit more. Boom did play it one game. It was the only Swen showing so far in the tournament, and I think it's a very good position for Swen game because you're playing a lot into a lot of minus armor. Bristleback, Tidehunter, eventually Tide might get Aghanim Scepter, and also Tiny's right clicks are no jokes.
Yeah, both teams have a lot of sustain, a lot of auras, stacking things up. And there we've got the sportsmanship from both teams. Good luck coming out of both sides as we head into game 3 of this best of 3. Boom taking on Entity. Looks like Boom not smoking, just wandering out across the map to get some early vision, while Entity always smoking. Coming down to their bottom jungle, getting some early wards down, even blocking that camp with an obs as well. Now to deal with the Enchantress early on?
Most likely, yeah. Also, it's a really good Necro game, apart from... Like, the only 2 things he cares about is the spell from Enchantress and also Tiny's combo. But he wants to be staying in these fights for a very long time. Entity's draft very good at resetting with Birds, Grave, a couple of heals from Necrophos. On the other side, Boom, like, they have one teamfight ulti, that's Ravage, and they need to get something done out from that. Other than that, other 4 heroes, they don't rely on cooldowns. They're ready to go at any time.
Yeah, they just keep on spamming spells. That's down at that bottom rune. Boom considering the move down there. As Saberlight and Fishman will get a couple of bounties. Tims will take 2 himself. Has the headdress, the tangos, and he's already bringing out some additional regen with Mango and a Sentry. Something we see a lot of with these side lane supports that already offer sustain, just amping it up even further.
Tims this time around will not be playing anything that can move around the map, being active. Tims definitely shine on those heroes we've seen in game 1 when he played Rubik first 15 minutes of the game, pretty much flawless. Same goes for Tiny in the previous one.
Yeah, it is Rubik, Tiny, Earth Spirit, these heroes that get on top of people. This time around, heavy sustain from the IO. Does have the relocate, so does have a bit of map maneuverability later on into the game, as we'll see things develop. Down at bottom, FBZ taking a bit of chip damage from Saberlight and Fishman.
A lot of minus armor. Right clicks from Enchantress, Blightstone, and also Gush. You gotta be careful. This lane is all about the sustain. Once they get the level 3 where Necrophos puts more points in dead balls, lane's gonna be very, I'd say, easy on the bottom. Maybe we're gonna see Dazzle getting killed one time, but if they manage to play around the Saberlight, Fishman...
He's dead, isn't he? They can catch up to him. Enchantress.
He does have a stick and also healing cell, but Enchantress 320 move speed will not chase. This also means a little less pressure on Necrophos, some solo XP for him.
Yeah, did have that impetus level 1, able to chase. Scam's going to put it onto Saberlight instead, as Fishman has salved back up to full and returns the favor. Gives a couple of whacks in towards FBZ and Scam.
Entity doing a very good job on bottom lane, pushing out the wave, not allowing them to play aggressive, getting level 2 before them. They understand where their strength is coming from. Now the lane's naturally going to push back into their tower. And it's all about sustain. They're doing a very good job. Not just getting double denies, but also securing last hits for Saberlight.
Yeah, perfectly done. Great start for them down south. Tim's having to deal with Kataomi. Sven, this position for Sven. The shard on that Warcry going to give them a lot once we get out.
It's a lot of armor. Warcry, when it's maxed out, that's 20 armor, and then armor becomes undispellable, granting passive 7 bonus armor. So their 5-man lineup, this is all, like, because they can't really gank. Maybe if Visage decides to pick up Aghanim Scepter, which we've seen Storm Spirit doing against EG from mid-Visage.
That is the potential for them.
That's one way to gank. Other than that, they're going to be groping around and just being very annoying. Birds dealing damage and also Venomancer wards.
Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit, the kind of return of the TI4 Death Ball meta. It's not quite the same, but it's definitely got elements of these hardcore pushing, sustain, and grouping up drafts from a lot of these teams. That Warcry going to be great against the Quill Spray of the Bristleback, as we've already seen. Jackie, though, top of the CS, not doing too poorly. But against the Venomancer, you would love to kill Toby off a couple of times, right? Slow hero, easy to gank, but with the Bristle IO, you don't really have the opportunity to do it.
This time around, much better Venomancer game, because they can't really gank Venomancer that easily. He does have 18 wand charges, decided to go for Bracer, and also getting some solo XP, because Kataomi is staying away from the range. But yeah, Spirit Vessel Builder against IO, Bristleback, gotta be really good. Bristle, this time around, he's gonna be skipping Vanguard, going into Hood immediately.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense against all the magic damage coming out of the Necro, the Veno. There's still a bit of physical, though, like you mentioned, the minus armor, potentially from the Visage, physical damage from Dazzle. Even the Sven can bring some. Fishman, always in these difficult battles as the position 5. Against an Enchantress, your lane is never easy. Because you're not in a 1v1 regen trade, you're in a 1v2 with the creeps she brings. Incredibly annoying. Oh, Kataomi
Big
spends
damage
everything.
from Sven.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant, using that hammer and then 18 seconds not doing anything.
Well, he had a full wand, so he's like, well, I'm going to use it.
the mana.
Got to use the mana somewhere, somehow. Mana burn creep from Skim. It's irritating.
Gosh, going for toss back on a mid lane.
Did he try it?
Not connecting.
Doing very well in that mid lane, right? 11 denies, 18 last hits. Stormer always surprises me how well he's able to do in these 1v1s.
He's a Visage master. You would expect Visage not to do as good in some of these matchups, but Stormer knows exactly what he's doing.
Like 10 denies before he's even level 6. You know, there's no birds to help you. Still managing to get a lot against this Tiny, who has got some tremendous base damage. FBZ going for wave dragging now. The lane has become too uncomfortable for him just to sit naturally in that 1v1 against Saberlight. Equally, the Necro pulls across into large camp.
Getting the most out of the lane. Wants to be able to get that level 6 rotation. Radiant using a scan. Stormer, no, he's very vulnerable. They're going on Tim's. And Kataomi, position for Sven, getting the first blood.
Yeah,
we'll have another stun.
He's got another one in 4 seconds.
That's another
Jackie's
kill.
Just dead. He's got no mana to hood up, and he's got double kill for Sven.
Entity, they're onto something. The way they're drafting throughout this tournament, they know what's up. Toby, he's level 5.5. So once you have that point in Poison Nova, they're focusing heavily on the laning stage. 3 points in Poison Sting and another point in Venomous Scale.
So
no points in Plague Wards, yeah.
None in wards, wow. So yeah, definitely just looking for that trading, the harassment. And Stormer does have his familiars out now. 3 members of Boom coming in, looking to that 6-minute rune spawn, which is a haste down at bottom, guarded up.
Boom wanted to strike before Stormer hit level 6, and now it gets a bit more difficult. Successful scan from Stormer, understanding something fishy's going on. On the bottom lane, Yopaj, he wants Saberlight.
Trying to run down towards them.
Not successful.
Unable to connect even with the haste rune there for Tiny. Fishman, what's he up to? He's coming back to it looks like to try and de-ward. He's Try to guess where it is. Very commonplace there is right on top of the staircase. A lot of these dire teams like to place that vision, but it is a little further across towards that tier.
Oh, big stun.
While Kataomi, he gets the stun on Tims. Jackie's the one Gale and Nova focusing the
Birds
eye
are
on
here as
Kataomi
well.
with the birds landing. They'll stun up the Bristle, and Storm is rotated in. Kataomi's on a killing spree, kills the courier, takes down Jackie as well. Oh, Entity, 5-0 start for them, going for a little bit more. They've had a taste now, they want the full meal. Yopaj, they can't kill a Tiny, surely not. He's too tanky.
Underneath the tower might be a bit too difficult, but they did invade enemy triangle. And also this ward that's always put to protect your outpost and the stacks did get dewarded. So Kataomi all over the place, also having a very nice read in terms of warding what enemy is doing. Roaming around the mid lane. Here he comes one more time.
Yopaj stunned up.
It's not about getting the kill necessarily. It's also about forcing a potential rotation from Boom and then allowing Entity to play a bit more aggressive on the side lanes.
You're forcing them to really make the most out of this, right? You're giving them options of what they can do.
Oh, look at Toby.
Wait,
He's going ham on Jackie.
Is he?
4 points in Poison Sting.
It's a lot of damage.
He does have a hood still, so he should be fine. But if Kataomi rotates on the top lane, they could potentially get another kill. And also efficiency. Kataomi stacking the big camp 3 times while also securing the runes. Potentially securing the runes because it spawned bottom again.
He had to pop his hood because of Poison Sting. He was nearly dead. What does Jackie do now? He's died a couple of times. He's not had a very nice laning stage against this Venomancer. Well, hang on a second. Skem down in that bottom jungle. He's been found out. Familiars from Storm are there, allowing Fishman to pick up the kill. But what's the plan for Jackie? Are there ancient stacks for him? Are they going to try and build up bank in the triangle?
There is 2 stacks in the triangle, which could potentially be taken. Toby's Venomancer, they try to pick it for him, not to a very successful end, but this time around he's being very annoying.
He's a nuisance. He's a pest. Need to kick him out of lane somehow. I just don't know how you do it though. Tiny has to be the one to make these moves. So much rests on the shoulders of Yopaj in this game. That's why he's rushing that Blink Dagger. This tournament, we've seen a couple of players go for that Echo Saber first, but really, it's all about this Blink initiation because you are the catch and kill capability from your squad while in the mid lane. Jackie has the backup of Tims. Gets himself through the onslaught of damage.
They need to help out the Necrophos on bottom.
Dazzle can't get his grave off in time. Saberlight helped out by Stormer, the Centaur stomp there. Skem holds him back.
Ravage is available.
He does have the Ravage. They think they've gotten enough damage. Yopaj, there it is. The 3-man Ravage hits, but the stuns on Yopaj means he's in a bit of trouble just running it back on low health. Saberlight's turned on by Skem and FBZ, but this Ravage has led to nothing. Entity will retreat.
Here comes Bristleback.
Maybe a kill on Kataomi. The courier over the high ground, safe and sound. While Saberlight, he's gushed up, but he's got
Grave.
1 charges. The potential here with the Avalanche toss to kill him.
Get it off.
No Grave from Fishman. Focus on Tims with the birds though, and Toby, he's got that poison over the urn charge, clips it on to the Bristleback. That's the one they
Playing our
want.
Enemies.
Focus on the Jackie Bristle, and Entity swipe down for another kill.
Do they have a stun?
Oh, they
First
do.
they do. If Fishman managed to get the Grave off, this is a perfect fight for Entity. Sometimes it gets a bit more difficult because you get tossed in the air and you just lose the vision. You're not able to click on him. But yeah, beautiful stuff from Entity. First using this Ravage and not getting anything off of it because he did have a Ghost Shroud and Birds again on the mid lane. Tim's ready to bail him out.
Yeah, we'll tether across, relocate. It was a nifty attempt by Yopaj with the Tumbler's Toy on Tiny to get to that high ground, but just missed the step and wasn't able to catch the Sven.
Well, time to be alive. Venomancer on top of Network.
Saberlight, he's gone aggressive with the Familiars. They'll land the stuns and the Reaper's Scythe clears through Tim's IO. Yopaj, look at that damage bursting through.
And look
Even
at
the
that
tank
slow.
is Tiny, slowing him down to a crawl. Oh, it's a double for Saberlight.
They're really strong once they group around Dazzle. There's going to be so much healing because, imagine someone being shallow, like Necro being shallow graved, using Ghost Shroud to amplify healing even more, and then popping 1 dead pulse. He's almost back to full HP.
What do you do to stop this? It's like that scene from Austin Powers where you're just standing there with a steamroller coming towards you. You can't actually move and you can't really react to it. You just have to let it run you over for a little bit, getting space elsewhere on the map with a couple of other heroes.
They're trying to itemize. I see FBZ going for not just Hood, but full pipe. So that's going to be one answer, but still, there's going to be a lot of issues because there will be Visage Birds. Also, Stormstormer itemizing for early aggression, going for that drums.
So he is, yeah. Can go for the boots of bearing as well if he wants to. He went for the tranquil boots on this Visage. And the Sven, such a good hero to also be able to block smokes, get vision, and just be a barrier in front. Like, Boom doesn't want to initiate on a Sven when he's full HP. And he's very difficult to kill. And there's the Spirit Vessel completed on Toby, while Jackie and Tims clear out a couple of ancient stacks, building this Bristle back up to 5,000 net worth. So he will get a little closer towards that Vanguard, going Hood and Vanguard
He
this
was
game.
thinking that he can skip Vanguard this time around, but those 3 deaths, he's 0, 3, and 0. A lot of stacks from Boom. We see 7 being made by Tims and 2 extra, so 9 in total compared to 3 or 4 on Entity's side. Also meaning that because you're not having that good of a time on Bristleback and you decided to go for both Hood and Vanguard, your Aghanim Scepter timing is going to be delayed.
Heavily delayed. And look at this. Boom, they didn't see it coming. Tims is the one that's going to be brought down first. The tether across, the Stormhammer misses.
Doesn't matter.
In mid-air, but the Reaper's side, it is there. Saberlight will take down the IO. But Bristleback, he gets away unscathed for the most part. Toby and Kataobi not done though. They don't want to allow him to farm Ancients. Take them out. Get some ward coverage in the area.
It's also very important for Toby to keep those Spirit Vessel charges up because this is how you deal with tanky heroes. All 3 cores are strength, so that means it's going to be a lot of damage done on them and also reducing healing from both Io and Enchantress.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, Yopaj 300 away from Blink. Feels like one of the slower ones from a mid-tiny this tournament. Did go for the treads and the bottle. A few little items here and there. But he needs it desperately. Again, he is their primary form of initiation.
Kataomi getting closer to his shard. Position for Sven, so not dispellable, and also extra 7 armor on Warcry passively. So that's 27 armor in huge AoE.
Yeah, we saw Tiny with the double damage runes of Stormstorm in the previous game, right? With this Sven able to counteract that, might be the answer to these mid-lane scaling Tinies. But there is the Blink, finally arriving. Needs to go back to Fountain to regen up, but he'll be ready to group with his team, smoke and play aggressively, as it looks like they are signaling they want to move into bottom jungle.
Bottom tower gonna drop. 66 HP only. Seems like Entity will not try to defend it.
Yeah, just a quick lift there. Well, mid lane, Stormstorm is showing. Saberlight comes bottom with Fishman, but there's the catch from Yopaj. Straight onto the Visage, he's got a DD running, Familiar's landing, TP out, and no stuns coming. Stormstormer's away!
Manages the TP out, nicely done. Scam did use Enchant to get rid of that extra armor from Warcry, which is, dispellable at the moment, but will not be dispellable in a couple of minutes when Kataomi finishes off that shard.
And that was the debut, that was the reveal of the Blink Dagger. You need this investment in aggression to pay off for you. Tiny needs to get kill after kill now. 5,000 net worth, he's dropping lower and lower. Like, top 4 are all Radiant heroes. Bristleback, the only one to really break into that pack. And a hero that I feel like we've touched on a little bit. We've seen some Reaper sides out of this boy, but 8,000 net worth on Necro. He's got Kaya Sanch completely, doesn't he? But he's also being run at by FBZ and Skem. Just a very difficult kill to catch.
Oh,
the move away.
almost gets away.
Nearly gets out of the range of the tentacles, but Yopaj, he is there. Finally, claiming a kill on the Tiny. And bringing down Saberlight's Necro, that top net worth hero. Huge for Boom.
That was nicely executed. The Ravage catches him on the end into relocate play, and Tiny unleashes full combo on him.
Stormstormer, Aghanim's next. You talked about that, right? The ganking capabilities of that Silent as the Grave. Queued up after he's got a shard done. Sven shard is coming. It's in his stash. And now we see Skem with a Glimmer Cape. So lots of little items here and there that are going to help each team's causes in these upcoming team fights. Lots of defensive capabilities already with their natural sustain from Dazzle, Necro, Io, Ench, just adding even more to it.
Roshan's going to be on the menu for Entity in the next couple of minutes.
Even just 17 minutes in, you've got plenty to go into the pit. Storm as a lone top. Jopan showed he did have an Invis rune bottle, but didn't want to use it just yet. Well, Scam, Glimmercaping out of range of Toby. Doesn't get tagged by the Venomous Gale, so he's fine. A bit of calm here. And Boom getting a lot of farm under their belt. It's allowed Bristleback now to move up towards second place. What, halfway towards Aghanims now. Have Entity taken their foot off the gas just a little bit too much?
I think they need to use this, something that I just mentioned, Roshan, because they see Bristleback only having one component now for this Aghanim Scepter, and they will use it. There's more than enough sustain. And Saberlight playing the bottom lane, pretending nothing's happening. Tyre using the scan, so they know something is up. He can easily reconnect with the team with Boots of Travel. Also taking Roshan from Bristleback lineup is a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, Bristol really wants that. Go and claim all the towers. Play tanky, have 2 lives. Not having that means he has to rely so heavily on this Io heal and the Ravage to be able to control team fights. Well, Saberlight spent all his money again.
Bought the shard. Double damage. Bottled by Yopaj.
Deathseeker. Necro shard. Incredibly tanky on Saberlight as well. 1800 HP, Kaya Sanj, Bracer, Wand, and lots of heals. So he's not completely reliant on that Ghost Shroud anymore, which you said can be kind of counteracted by the Dispel from Enchant. He is tanky enough to wait things out. As Jackie gets a bit of a push on bottom lane. Stormers familiars looking to scout out Skem, but once again, Glimmercape TP.
Jackie needs 800 gold. It's time for Entity to push the lanes. That's why Boots of Travel are a very valuable item on Necro to be able to push one wave, and the rest of the team will need to be grouping around and moving together because they're really not good at ganking. Maybe when Visage picks up Aghanim Scepter, but until that makes the game very difficult. One of the reasons why we haven't seen many kills in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, just calm things down, get your items going, hit those peaks. Oh, Essence Ring for Bristleback. Hand that over. And Toby still with that Fairy's Trinket. Trying to play forward into Dire Triangle. Scouting out his opponents and a long line drawn there. Stormer says hold the river. Tier 1 top and mid. Still up and running for Entity. And these are objectives that Boom need to claim. While a smoke from Stormer, Kataomi, Fishman. Who are they going to connect with? Scam is going very deep on a warding mission, it looks like. No, he's not actually got any wards, never mind. He's just wandering around, Bambiing in the forest, sproinking away.
Buying time, potentially getting ganked. Venomancer on a mid lane. Boom thinking about jumping him, but then seeing Dazzle and saying, no, not really.
Yeah, that's what, 4 staff, full wand, Dazzle behind. You're not killing that Veno anytime soon. And Entity opting to go for the push. Tier 2 tower. Glyphed up for now.
I don't think you defend this tower. Try to get something done out of the map. Aghanim Scepter getting delivered to Jackie as we speak. Maybe if they can force someone to TP out, show on a minimap, and then try to strike, because it gets very difficult. This is Visage with Aegis, and also we still haven't seen like Graves being used because they were not many fights, but you'll see the full potential of Entity's lineup pretty soon. As soon as Boom decides to take a fight, Grave, Ghost Shroud, Deadfalls, Deadseeker saves, there's going to be way too many things on the ground, and it's just going to be very chaotic. Also, Sven, after finishing that shard, going for Vlad's next. Like usually you see that from Visage, but he knows that Kataomi will eventually farm it, so he doesn't need to go for it, opting for a higher tier item.
Yeah, so Stormer can go for more of the like assassin build. Hunting people down, looking for the IO in particular, maybe the Tide Hunter, who are heroes that like to play from fog and have that element of surprise. Well, Jackie trying to use this Aghanim Scepter, yeah, gets a little push on the bottom lane. Tim's there with a ward down as well. But it was Saberlight, the one that isolated himself on the map that you were mentioning. They were waiting for someone to come down there. The Necro, not a hero they can kill. And the cut across the map. Entity sweep into the triangle. FBZ
just run away, lol. They can't really stop them. The only way to initiate is when Visage picks up Aghanim Scepter or Slow Sven finding an angle and using the Stormhammer.
Pretty cool. We've not seen this in a long time because pipe hasn't really been an item, but the disassembled pipe here, so you get both barriers. FBZ will be able to use the hood, reassemble, use the pipe, get both buffs, and he's now also got that blink dagger to be able to jump in and start the team fight.
Good old Dota trick.
Kataomi, the one to show mid, dragging wave into the tree line. No points in Greater Cleave. Full support mode for him. FBZ doing a similar thing with the help of a tiny illusion. But it still feels like Entity the ones with a firm grasp on this game. And they can push bot tier 2. They can move around and look for kills. Maybe defend that top tower. Every option open to them while Boom. They're looking for a big team fight, aren't they? They want a 5v5 clash.
They definitely want to, but once that Aegis is down, and it's going to be gone in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, reclaimed.
Instant smoke from Boom.
Yeah, you're right. Straight out across the map. Stormstormer does have that Aghanim Scepter, but look at Toby. He is out here all alone in the wide open forest. 4 stabs not going to save you. As Boom bring in the heroes. Skem's the one to get the final touch.
Toby was thinking about popping that poison. No, checked where everyone is. So far away from him. He was caught in the jungle alone. Boom is itemizing for that magical damage coming out. They know that most of the damage is magical, besides some right clicks from Stormstormer. And he's trying to assassinate with this freshly bought Aghanim Scepter.
There he is. All hidden away. Silent as the grave. Trying to act like a little ninja.
Yeah, the good old Envisage, as we like to call it.
Envisage. Saberlight, this has been his job so far, just to sit down in that bottom lane. They can't really come and kill a tier 2 because he's just pushing that wave out consistently.
And also deep ward that is scouting Saberlight on the bottom lane is something that could potentially give them more kills, because if they see him deeping bottom, that means rest of the team is definitely not with him. Entity's not going to play the bottom because he wants to use this Boots of Travel. And look at Yopaj.
What's he doing? Is he cutting waves?
Cutting waves. It's all about cutting those waves.
Yeah.
They do not want to give Entity any momentum.
Maybe now Saberlight in trouble, though. A step too far forward, a toss back to reposition him, and the relocate in. Boom. They've brought everyone down here, but Saberlight incredibly tanky. Still going to fall as Entity unable to snap into action fast enough.
Boom having a really good read what needs to be done in this game. Just trying to go for this Necro. They understand that the Entity can't really gank. So try to dodge, cut the waves as much as you can, place these observer wards that gives you all the intel, and then try to go for plays like this.
And there's that BKB on Yopaj, rebuilding back into the Echo Saber. BKB bristleback, so another big timing here for Boom to continue looking for these team fights if Entity ever entertained them. Assault Cuirass next for Stormstormer, so stacking even more armor and auras up. Like you said, they'll have the Vlads on this Sven, already had the Shard a long while.
Entity needs to find an opening. They need to find a way to start a fight. One way is going to be go for the second Roshan.
Well, go on Kataomi here. Stormstormer is going to angle towards Tim's, though. The IO, a little bit out of position, caught up with the Shard of the Dazzle, hexed up with the toss back, finding Stormstormer. The Visage, he's got the back of the Sven, but the BKB
He'll need a grave.
The stun. They need the grave. Stormstormer, he's in stone form, but the Ravage is there. FBZ kills off Fishman. Stormstormer surrounded. Another toss back from Yopaj. Oh, he silenced the grave, though. Invis away. Toby with the point. Jackie boy. He's got a BKB up. Shiny gold and bristle back. Whacking into Toby. They can't finish anyone off, though. The sustain is too great. Finally, a kill for Jackie as Tim's Toby
now
and
it's not the
FBZ
strike
fall.
for Entity.
But Saberlight's arrived. Their Necrophos, he wants this bristleback real bad. No Reaper's Scythe, and Skem wants to save him. The buyback from Io and Yopaj. Another toss back.
They want to save him. 9 seconds.
The
It's not going to
Bristleback's
be
not
enough.
gonna
He's
die.
running away.
He
He's
survived.
fine.
The buyback from Tim's IO. Katome and Saberlight, what can they do now? They're running low on mana. Yopaj incredibly close to
Scam
death.
just showed up.
Another toss back, and Fishman arriving again. They've got that Death Seeker. Death Pulse in, and Saberlight is going to
He
take
needs another
down
one to
two.
replenish his mana. He's going to go back to full mana. Was sitting at the 100. So buybacks from Boom, not enough to keep this fight alive. And while this is happening, Roshan did respawn.
Look at that
These are the
damage.
types that the Entity wants. They want prolonged team fights. They want Bristleback to have his BKB on cooldown and also not play around Ravage.
So what was that? Buyback from IO. 3 heroes dead on Entity, 4 dead on the side of Boom. Saberlight comes out the big winner though. 10,000 damage, gets a ton of XP and gold.
Shiva's Guard doing a lot of work in those fights, slowing people down and also reducing healing from IO, from Bristleback. Percentage-based damage that they have from Venomancer, from Spirit Vessel, always going to be really deadly for these 3-strength cores.
Oh man, this shard from Stormstormer as well. He's back to basically full health. They need multiple avalanche toss combos to kill him off, and then he's able to get to the tree line. And Jackie, with that BKB up, able to do some serious damage, but back to live as Roshan. He has respawned. In comes Saberlight though. They're on the
Big
IO.
hits.
That's a dieback from Tim's now. Gone for 70 seconds.
Man, I've seen throughout this tournament, Dazzle's carrying the game pretty hard with this shard, landing multiple man hexes, and now inside of it they go. Boom will not try to fight this.
That's what, a 2-second hex, isn't it?
Yep.
2 seconds to extend these team fights, get your heels off. And second,
There's only
Roshan.
one hero that does not have shard on Entity, and that's Venomancer.
What does a
So
shard
we'll
do?
get one for free. Travel range and spawn some Plague Wards.
On the Venomous Gale, yeah. They'll get it now. So even more Plague Wards, that might just help out their push as they start considering high ground. 30 minutes in. Do you still reckon Entity are on that kind of timer? Are Boom the ones that want this game to
Not
40, 50
necessarily, because
minutes?
this is Bristleback lineup, a lineup that relies on taking Roshan and then putting the pressure on the enemies while Bristleback is holding Aegis. Like tiny scales well. Aghanim Scepter, nowhere near close to be finished on Tidehunter, so that's also a big one. Once they get that AoE slow, that's going to be pretty big combined with Viscous Goo.
But yeah, they're against the Necro as well, right? The ability just to slice them in half.
Necro also got that very good level 20 talent, Heartstopper regen reduction, so even less regen coming out from IO.
That's massive. And one of the closest we've seen, mid lane. What's this? A catch on Scam. Nature's Attendants, a ton of heal. Stormhammer's there, and Saberlight, the magical
to use
damage.
the site. Saberlight was thinking about it for a
They
second.
go
Try
for
to force a
FBC.
Ravage. Let's see how it goes.
They want the Tidehunter. He might be forced to use it. He's standing his ground and fighting in, but the Reaper's side 3 looking out. Oh, he saved him.
Tims using that mech.
And Yopaj is
Coming in clutch.
Toss
Yopaj,
back.
BKB running.
BKB up and focusing Toby, but so challenging to fight into this. Sustain and Deathball still going high ground.
They also picked up Gem on Visage, so we'll see any kind of wards. They're trying to get rid of Vision, because Stormstormer, he feels slightly vulnerable. So initiating from this Aghanim Scepter Jackie, they just scouted him out, I believe.
I think they know where he is. They've got a pretty good idea. But the tempo at which Entity are playing now, as soon as that fight was over, Saberlight TP's bot, shoves the wave, the rest of them gathering up in this dire triangle, ready to go for round 2. They do still have the Ravage on Boom, but FBZ doesn't want to use it here. Pops his pipe, turns the fight, gushes up Saberlight, but FBZ, he's dead.
Way too much damage. Great initiation from Saberlight using Shiva's Guard, then blinking in, clipping Tidehunter, so he's not able to blink out.
Yeah, it's a great shout.
And full raid pack on Sven, reducing damage and giving those birds extra. Like Visage right now, when it comes down to tower damage, these numbers are going to be nuts.
They're going for it. Tier 3 tower opened up. They're unlocking this base. Look at this damage from the familiars out of Stormstormer.
And also full Aghanim Scepter done on Toby's Venomancer.
I mean, they've got armor corruption on the familiars. That AC done as well. No, not quite. Getting closer to it. But a bit of focus there onto Jackie. Needs the IO to keep him healed up. Their barracks falling though, and nothing to stop Entity at this point. The Gale catching Yopaj, spawning a couple of those wards, and ranged barracks will be a full set for Entity. Back it up.
Taking barracks without even taking a fight. And Boots of Travel one more time on Saberlight. 21,000 net worth on this Necro.
He's just finished Ags and he's already got another 2k saved up. AC very close for the Visage as well. And we are yet to see FBZ in the past 10 minutes have one of these big ravages which Boom desires so greatly. And look at that Necro, 710 GPM. Right up at the top. We've not seen him play many carry heroes. He's played Alk once or twice.
He did play one game of Faceless Void.
Right.
Mostly, like even a couple of games, he played offlane Enigma, offlane Beastmaster, while Toby playing some kind of a carry like a Razor, and Scam will be found. They do have Gem.
Gem for Scam?
On Storm Spirit.
There it is.
But never mind. He's not there, but there is dust available already on Kataomi.
It's a slow, arduous kill. The Hex there from the Poison Touch to cancel the TP just in time from Fishman. And Saberlight continues his streak.
Oh, you see
this? The
Invis
Blizzard travel
TPing.
onto the Familiars. They blow up the IO. The Scythe, not sure that was required, but Saberlight made damn sure that Tims is dead.
Just in case, Saberlight styling on them right now, TPing on Invis Visage Birds. That's how they initiate. And almost a full overwhelming blink. This is just getting real rough. He's also getting closer to level 25 Necro in a 33-minute game.
He's a monster. He's knocking on the door of Boom, looking to knock them out of the tournament. The Grim Reaper himself. Saberlight here in game 3. About
toss
to lose
back on
the
Toby.
Aegis. They do catch Toby, the Venom.
He got the ulti off at the grave
as well. FBZ on the run behind his tier 4 towers. Jackie Boy and Yopaj unable to do anything though. These strength heroes against this Venomancer. Poison Nova with the Aghanim Scepter is huge. 4.5% max HP as damage.
Yeah, look at them chilling in Fountain, trying to regen up. It's
can't.
going to take some time. Yopaj is still sitting at the 30% HP. Could get the Reaper sighted potentially, but it's not available for another 60. So gotta be very careful.
And
It's one of those where you like toss in Tidehunter, you try to lock him down, and then he gets the 5-man Ravage. Same thing happened, but the good force staff from Toby, allowing him to get closer, close the gap, and clutch in Grave coming on from Fishman.
Oh no, panic from Fishman. He is right on the money this time with the Grave. And now we have Lotus
panic,
Orb up.
calm, panic, calm again.
Calm. Just chill. Entity, that's what they're doing. Just come back. Hold their side of the map. Another one of these situations where you know your opponents are desperate. They're itching for a team fight. So you don't want to give it to them on their terms. You'd rather fall back defensively, smoke to then regain some traction on the map. Mid lane's pushing, top lane's pushing. They're in a great spot here to play into Dire Triangle. Catch and kill is the name of the game for Entity now. Buyback status-wise, super important for Boom at this point. It's all going to come down to these long, drawn-out fights, and nobody has any. 80 gold away for the IO. Dazzle, the single hero with buyback on the map. So the jump, super important. Saberlight spotted mid, but in the triangle, they're going back in. The FBZ, 3-4-man Ravage. It's a great connection, but Toby healed up and the Poison Nova's out. Gets the Wraith back down, and Stormer with Saberlight. They're back in towards them. Fishman loses his courier, but that's meaningless in this, while the Reaper's sight is there on FBZ. Down goes the Tide. Jackie Boy and Tims still trying to fight, but they can't out-sustain Entity.
Saberlight's just doing way too many things in this fight. They try to focus the others, but they don't have enough damage. They cannot deal with this Necrophos. Fight starts, they pop the bongo boots, Warcry on Sven. They're pretty speedy. They cannot be slowed for a short period of time, and now it's time to go in and potentially end the game. They know that there's no Ravage. They're going to go for tier 4 towers.
Well, why not? Just go for it. IO did get the money to buy back now, so it's going to be a 3 versus 5. But this is Entity locking up game number 3. No way out of this one unless a miracle happens. Yopaj with a toss back for the Grave onto Toby, saves him up, and the IO is about to die again. Oh, he's back behind his throne. Safe for now, but your tier 4s not having the same luxury. No safety for your buildings. Catapults have arrived.
They need some kind of a toss back into Fountain play, but seems like Entity will not allow it, keeping the distance.
Kill the buildings. Wraith Pact can't even be focused down. Jackie trying to stack up Nasal Goo. And boom, they're alive. But they're thrown, even with a sustain in there. Jackie Boy sent across in towards the Sven. They're building. Can they focus it down? A Stormer does pick off Tim's. Yopaj dead. No buyback on Boom. FBZ's gone. And GG.
What a performance from Entity in Game 3. They just needed to go for this, like, one push, finding a way to group around Boots of Travel onto Visage to find an opening. And Entity, they will be playing against Team Aster in the next round. Whew. What a disgusting draft, Gary. Venomancer, it's very toxic. The only hero that is missing is potentially Viper, but they did this position. Sven did put in a lot of work, not allowing Bristol